Steaks, in my opinion, are the benchmark to most restaurants. Most people judge the average restaurant on the steak. And people will travel miles for a great quality steak. People will dig that little bit deeper into their pockets for a good steak. You know, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well the chef cooked it. If it's not good meat, the customer's not going to be happy. It's still going to be tough. Here we have the anglais. It's a fantastic cut of meat. It's not so popular in England, very popular in France. The bistros, the brasseries, the small restaurants, they serve it. They cook it very simply and always serve it rare, with shallots, a little mustard on the side. I was first introduced into bavette when I was a young boy of 19 when I first came to London to work for the Roux brothers. It was very popular with the staff. We never ever served it at La Gavroche, but for example, it would be served in Pulver or Gammon or Gavas, which were their little satellite bistros. But also, surprisingly, it braises very well. So if you wanted to make something like a beef bourguignon, it's a really good cut to use for bourguignon. But me, I like it cooked rare, shallots, mustard, like the French like it. Rump steak. You don't see it very often in restaurants in London. London tends to be ribeyes, sirloins, fillets. That's what London tends to be. The only place I ever served this, or ever worked with the rump steak, was when I was a boy at the Hotel St George in Harrogate. It was always on the grill room menu. But again today, you tend to see it in pubs outside of London. In London, it's quite rare. It's nice, but I find it quite inconsistent. You can get a cut today from your butcher, it's delicious. Next week, it's not as good. So I stay away from it. I find it quite inconsistent. Ribeye steak. It's so popular now. Everywhere has ribeye, from a good restaurant to a pub to a steakhouse. It's very popular. The punters like it. It has a good fat content within it. It's a generous portion. It's tender. It's flavoursome. You know, you can't knock it. And you know, it comes in at a price point which people are happy to pay for. You can get a good ribeye, 18.50, 19 quid on a menu, but that's a 10-ounce steak, and that's generous. I think if you serve an 8-ounce ribeye, it's a bit mean. I think you've got to give that little bit more and charge that little bit extra, because also it cooks better as well. Entrecôte, as long as it's from the top end of the sirloin, it's fantastic. You can't complain. Nice rounded eye of meat. If it tends to go into the rump end, it has sinews going through it, it's mean. If you're going to use it, always use it from the top end of the sirloin, so it's got that roundedness and it looks like an entrecôte. It's a great piece of meat. To be quite honest, I had one last week. Delicious, Scottish, fantastic quality. I paid £22.50 for it, 10 ounce. Did I walk away feeling cheated? No, I didn't. I thought it ticks all the boxes. Fillet steak, what can you say? Good meat, always tender, expensive, mostly the least popular by the punters, purely because of price. I never choose a fillet for the simple reason is it doesn't have the flavour of a ribeye or a sirloin or even a bavette. It's a pretty steak, you know, smart restaurants tend to use it. It's a nice shape, it always delivers, it's tender, and it's expensive. Would I prefer to go for an entrecôte or a ribeye? Yes, I would. But you know something? It's a good steak to have on your menu. Ladies tend to prefer it. It's tender, it's not as much fuss.